Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Casual Sports Podcast. Let's get this thing rolling. First off, I'm Alec Aberna. Joining me today, Mike Wolfgang and Matt Morrison. Before we get started, go check out our merchandise. It's in all of the bios. Go buy stuff, support us. It should look good. I don't actually know what any of it looks like, but I designed all of it, so it should look good. If it doesn't, complain to Teespring, not us. You can check that out in our bios everywhere. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Casual Sports Report as well. And make sure to like and subscribe to this video if you're watching on YouTube. All right, boys, let's get this show on the road. How are you guys doing this week?
Quick intro there.
Oh, yeah, we've been killing a lot of time. We're about 43 minutes late this week on the podcast. I had to beat somebody in Madden.
By a lot.
By a lot.
Better late than never, though.
Yeah, Matt finally put up 13 points at the end of the game.
Swap time.
Yeah, I was up 53-0 when he did that, though. So, about that. I don't remember exactly how many points I had.
Just made it look a little less brutal.
Yeah, Matt got
I
eviscerated.
had James Washington on a couple runs and passes, and he got in.
I beat you with Jared Goff.
Yeah, I would let you score those, too, so.
For the most part. I just stopped running different kinds of defenses. All right, well, let's get this show on the road. Thank you all for joining us this week. Just end it, wrap it up immediately. We're going to start out with the NBA. Not too much going on in sports this week. We got March Madness coming up around the corner, and the All-Star Game coming up in just a few weeks, as well as the second half of the NBA season set to be announced here hopefully soon.
We're still waiting on it. They're not telling us when, but they're just saying soon.
Right. It was supposed to be this past weekend was reports. Now it's like, oh, today, tomorrow, it's coming. Don't know when. Just like spring, can't tell. It's going to be like 60 this week in Youngstown, but it'll probably snow.
But it was just an ice storm last week.
Right, we had the polar vortex that just eviscerated half the country. R.I.P. to Texas. Thoughts and prayers out to everybody
there. Seriously, yeah.
But let's just talk sports here. I like sports. Do you guys like sports?
I mean, it's kind of why we're here.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
No, I thought you just liked the company.
Sports.
It's Sports Report podcast. That's why we're here.
Yeah, we're reporting.
We haven't reported. The only time we report is on Twitter. I'm the only one that does that. All right, so early Rookie of the Year odds. We're almost halfway through the season. I figure it's a better time than never to talk about this. Who do you guys got so far as your Rookie of the Year?
I think it's pretty clear. LaMelo Balls is running away with it, and that's who I have right now.
That's who I've got as well.
This guy is good.
He's dominant. I like him.
Yeah, I'm going with LaMelo. I mean, I like Anthony Edwards, but the Timberwolves are just bad. So,
right.
I mean, Charlotte's a little bit better, so that's why I kind of
They just fired their coach, too, didn't they?
Yeah, Timberwolves fired their coach and replaced him with the G League coach from the Toronto Raptors.
I can't remember his name, but
I don't have it
written down. But
I mean, the team sits in 8th place right now. They're 14 and 15, and he hasn't started all of those. He's averaging 14.4 points, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds. That's consistent on a guy, especially because averages kind of get deflated if you don't start at the beginning of the season like he wasn't. So he's really been doing a lot better since he was coming off the bench. He's getting more minutes. He's now a starter, and he's looking hot.
And there's room for it on the team. I mean, they have some good guys, but they're not like, his caliber. I mean, they got a good young team. They got him, Gordon Hayward. They got Terry Rozier. They hit that buzzer beater.
That was amazing.
Terry called it. There's a reason we call him Scary Terry.
Scary Terry.
I mean, they got Cody Zeller, who's been kind of... He was supposed to be
looks
kind
like
of
he's
a big
50.
thing. Yeah. Cody Zeller was supposed to be a big thing out of college. Never really grew into it. But, maybe now getting the guys around him, he can kind of flourish in a different way. I mean, Miles Bridges is on that team. He's good. I mean, Malik Monk can jump out of the building. And Bismack Biyombo, everyone forgets about him, but he was a dominant force up in Toronto.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Cleveland remembers that.
Oh, I'm sure we do. But, I mean, it's a good team. They just picked off the Golden State Warriors by 2 points on Saturday.
On that buzzer beater.
On that buzzer beater shot. I mean, they've got some good wins this season. They beat the Bucks. They beat the Heat in recent weeks. They just lost to the 76ers by 5 at the beginning of the month. LaMelo's really leading that squad, and I think it's kind of eaten a lot of people that were like, oh, man, I wouldn't want LaMelo. He's got too much drama because Hornets have not had any drama with Ball.
No, and he hasn't created any either.
Right. I mean, that was the whole thing
That
was kind of the whole thing of why nobody really wanted to touch the Ball brothers was just because of how much press and drama there was around the family.
Especially from the dad.
Right. LeVar Ball. He brought a lot of drama. He really kind of hurt the beginning of Lonzo's career. And I think kind of hurt LiAngelo as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if maybe that's Jordan's doing, being like pulling LeVar's sides like, you ain't doing anything on my team. You shut up or else your kid's sitting the bench.
Yeah.
Maybe that's Jordan. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't.
Could have been. And LeVar said he made some comments earlier in the season when LaMelo wasn't starting, but it's paying off for him now getting him in the lineup.
Yeah.
I mean,
good on LaMelo for figuring the stuff out. Maybe after everything that happened with Lonzo, LeVar kind of realized, hey, okay, maybe I take a step back now. Because there were some issues a few years ago in the league with Lonzo and the drama from LeVar, and it kind of hurt the Lakers.
Got ugly a little bit.
Yeah, it hurt the Lakers, I feel like, because everything was kind of distracted. He got shipped out of L.A.
Ended up working, though.
Yeah, it worked. For
both sides. I
guess. I don't know.
More so for the Lakers. But
more so for the Lakers. They got AD, and let me look at the standings, but the Pelicans, I think, are in 11th. Yeah, they are. They're in 11th, and they're 13 and 17, so who knows how well that actually worked for Lonzo. Probably put him in a better situation, but a better situation to flourish rather than succeed. I put up 19 points in their last game. Zion had 28 and Ingram had 33, so that's quite the trio putting together. And not to mention Josh Hart still dropped 17 as well.
You guys want to talk about that game a little bit?
They beat the Celtics.
Against the Celtics?
Yes.
They did that against the Celtics.
So the Celtics blew a 24-point lead to the Pelicans in the overtime loss. And the first time in 6 seasons the Celtics have a 500 or worse record through 30 games.
Oh,
wow.
Jeez.
Yeah, they're not looking hot at the moment. They're still in 6th place, and season's still young. I don't know if they're waiting on injuries. Do you know if there's any injury problems right now
for Boston?
For Boston,
not any major ones I know of.
Let me look it up.
I don't know if Kemba Walker was out, but I saw he was playing in this game against the Pelicans. But no, they have all the stars healthy. I don't know if they have any role players.
Marcus Smart is out, and so is Romeo Langford.
Okay.
So.
But yeah, who do you kind of point to for the struggles for Boston?
Well, let me pull up
Tristan
their points here. Tristan Thompson, partially, he had 0 assists. And if you're playing 30 more minutes and you're supposed to be a starter, you better have an assist somewhere. That's kind of disappointing. But none of their big guys. Daniel Tice had 1 assist. Tristan Thompson put up his normal double-double-ish numbers. He got 14 points, 9 rebounds instead of 10. Close enough. They had, who was Aaron Nesmith?
I think he was rookie this year. I don't know where he was from, but
okay. Yeah, in the 2020 draft, pick number 14 out of Vanderbilt. Okay. He put up a pretty good number there. He got 10 points. It just, I don't really know where you even look in a game like this where you blow that kind of lead, because numbers-wise, they don't look bad. I'd have to actually go.
You see in the NBA.
I'm sure if I was to go back and look through it, I could tell you who.
Yeah.
But just looking at the bare stats that they have on Google.
But every now and then you see a team blow a 20-point lead. But for a team like Boston, obviously you're good enough to get a 24-point lead. So that means you're struggling enough and you're somewhat bad enough to blow it to it. The Pelicans are a young team, but like you said, their record's not the greatest. But
looking back through their past few games in the losses, it kind of just looks like they don't have a bench. Because it looks like all their starters are playing just fine. Then you go look at the bench, there's no consistency, nobody's putting up numbers. And if I was probably to point somewhere, it's the same problem we were seeing with the Nets a few weeks ago. Obviously, not right now, we'll talk about that in a bit. But when a team doesn't have a consistent bench, it really hurts them. We saw, I think, kind of with the Clippers last season and postseason, when when PG went cold, the Clippers didn't really have the bench strength they thought they did to be able to continue to compete at the level they needed to.
Yeah.
And I think it hurt them. So I'm thinking right now the Celtics are just having some consistency issues on the bench. Because at 15 and 15 in 6th place, that means they can win games, they can close out games, and they can compete with anybody at 15 and 15 at 30 games in. But it means they're probably missing a piece or two, and I'm thinking that piece is on the bench. Obviously, Marcus Smart isn't playing. And he's kind of their defensive anchor, that mindset.
Yeah.
He might be the heart and soul of their team.
Right. He kind of has been the heart and soul of their team, at least, especially once they get down to the postseason.
Yeah.
He's going up against the other team's best offensive guy every time. It's kind of like every team, super team has one. If you go look at the Golden State Warriors, they got Draymond Green. He's that mean machine down there.
Yeah.
He brings that mentality to it. And I'm just thinking they don't have that guy.
But when you talk about the Celtics, those are some things we thought they'd address in the offseason. Bringing in guys like Tristan Thompson and Jeff Teague to come off the bench. You thought that's what they addressed in the offseason. It's just not showing so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe give it a year at this point. Let some of these younger guys develop because I'm looking at this bench and I don't know Peyton Pritchard, Grant Williams sounds vaguely familiar.
Grant Williams wasn't he Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Aaron Nesmith from Vanderbilt, Robert Williams, and then Romeo Langford's kind of supposed to be their big guy, their big rookie. He's not playing right now. So I think they're missing a few pieces. Maybe once Smart and Langford come back, maybe they can be those 2 extra parts that they need just to put right back in there and get the flow going. Because it's not like they're getting blown out in most of these games either. I mean, they have a 13-point win over the Nuggets. They lost by 14 to the Jazz, but the Jazz are really good.
Everybody's losing to the Jazz these days. They're just steamrolling for everybody.
It's not like they're having a lot of terrible wins. Yes, they're double-digit wins, double-digit losses, but I don't think they're as bad as, say, the Cavaliers in the past 10 games.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's reason to panic, and I think they just got to wait for their guys to come back into the rotation and let it flow from there.
I don't think there's reason to panic, though, but when you talk about the Celtics and, who they've been in the past, how many years, like, they don't want to wait. They're looking at their rival, like the Lakers. They just won a championship. Like that's where the Celtics should be.
That's where they should have been 5 years ago. LeBron has always stood in the way.
Yeah, you're right. But especially with LeBron out of the East now, like this,
it should have been their East to run it, and now the Nets come in with their super team and go, well, hold on 1 second. Then the process is finally working in Philly. They're still up there number 1 in the East as well.
It would be nice to see. I mean, I don't know if I point to coaching. I mean, I like Brad Stevens, but
sometimes
he hasn't gotten it done.
I mean, he's a great respected coach. I like what he did.
No disrespect to him.
No, I really liked what he did at Butler, but I mean,
and frankly, he's got some of the best inbound plays in the NBA.
Yeah.
When it comes to coming out of the timeout inbound, he's the best.
Oh,
I mean, no one's writing up better plays, more creative plays, and ones that work more often than not than that guy right there. Brad Stevens, hands down, best young coach in the league.
Oh, definitely.
Should be coach of the year every year.
Frankly, yeah, probably. I mean, keep in mind, he's still working with guys that are younger. Tatum is still an underdeveloped prospect. I mean, even if you're going to put that, say that was LeBron early in his career, and I'm not comparing Tatum to LeBron, though that has been kind of Tatum's comparison for a while. He's supposed to be kind of the next Bron-esque player. Even at this point in Bron's career, he wasn't really able to push them over the hump that they needed to be. Even 2007 when they went to the finals, they still lost and got swept.
Yeah. But my thing about...
I mean, Tatum just dropped 33 in that loss.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely got problems.
It's not falling on, their stars.
No, it's not
anything, or their coaching. It's clearly a issue with they don't have the right personnel past their starting five.
They're just not star power like other teams are, I guess. I mean, I'm not no discredit to Tatum or Brown or any of the stars they do have, but I go back to when they were in the conference finals against the Cavs, LeBron's last year in Cleveland.
Yeah.
They had Kyrie out. I think Gordon Hayward was out too, and they pushed the Cavs to 7 games. And everybody was saying, "Oh, next year, when LeBron leaves the East, the Celtics are the standard." And they haven't been that.
They haven't been that. They should have
for the last 3 years since LeBron left. He hasn't been. They don't
have that 6th man type of guy at all.
Normally, that's Marcus Smart.
Yeah,
but
he's hurt.
He's hurt right now. We'll see. I don't want to say too much because I feel like when he comes back in, it's a completely different mindset.
Yeah.
Get Langford going as
their toughness
younger guy.
Is back.
Right, because Langford was also kind of a defensive guy. I think he's Indiana, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he plays that Big Ten defensive basketball that is pretty popular.
It's doing pretty well this year. We'll talk about later.
Yeah. I mean, Big Ten is looking good, and they produce some pretty good athletes, as we've seen, and defensive players especially. So another defensive anchor that can probably learn a lot from Marcus Smart, and then do more on the offensive side than Smart does too.
Yeah.
So just wait until they get a few more guys back in, and I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah. So
I'm going to go back to rookies though.
Yeah, go ahead.
What other? Obviously, I think we all have LaMelo Ball kind of as the standout right now. Who do you got coming in like second and third right behind him?
I gotta put Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
Either second or third.
Edwards.
I don't know. His athleticism's there, his points are there, but the rebounds and assists aren't where you want him to be. He's averaging 14.3 points, so only 0.1 less than LaMelo. 3.6 rebounds and 2.5 assists. So the numbers are kind of there. At the same time, I don't really think anybody's really doing too much yet besides... I don't even know what it is about LaMelo. I think he's getting more media coverage, which is why he's kind of getting favored.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards, the only time he gets covered is when he dunks on somebody, which
Like
he's
last
done
night.
quite a few times. And he postered somebody on the Raptors. I didn't even see who it was.
My only thing about
He
the
was kind of
Timberwolves-
in the middle of his nuts. So.
Oh, it was last night. It was sick. It was awesome.
Couldn't see who was there. It was just a face full of nuts.
Yeah. But my thing about the Timberwolves is, I guess, even though their record's not as good as Charlotte's is, I guess Edwards is on a team that has better players, I guess. You got Karl Anthony Towns, even though he's been out a lot this year. You got D'Angelo Russell, he's playing next to, who's going to get the bulk of the assist.
Right.
Well,
Towns was back in the last game. I don't think Russell was in.
Oh, he wasn't?
No, I think Russell's
They've both been in and out. But
yeah, neither one of them's been in at the same time. That may be part of the reason why they've been struggling a little, but not enough to be in last place the way they are.
No, but I don't know. I'd probably put Anthony Edwards at second in my rankings. Or in terms of favorites to be the Rookie of the Year.
Well, in their last game, they faced the Raptors. Edwards put up 7 points in 34 minutes. I don't know. He just seems to be a little inconsistent at times. And obviously rookie, but if I'm looking for Rookie of the Year, I like Tyrese Halliburton.
I like Tyrese Halliburton
He's
a lot.
been
I like him
good.
coming out of the
13
draft.
points per game, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. Just putting up virtually the same numbers as Edwards in points, and yet is doing better in the assist category, and the rebounds are about the same. So I would just probably have Halliburton right above Edwards. So right now I would have LaMelo, Tyrese, Edwards, then I think Wiseman just below them, and then fifth spot Emmanuel Quickly from the Knicks.
About Halliburton,
Quickly, man.
About Halliburton, if the Kings look to like get rid of some guys, maybe Buddy Hield, you don't know. But if they got rid of him and they had a backcourt of De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton, that'd be pretty nice going forward for them.
That would be a good combo to go with. But according to SportsBettingDime.com, LaMelo Ball currently sits at the favorite to win Rookie of the Year, and it's not even close. He's at minus 425 in betting odds. Tyrese Halliburton is second in that, and he's at plus 600. Next closest is James Wiseman at plus 1,400. Then Edwards is plus 15. Then Quickly is all the way back at plus 1,800. So right now, LaMelo is kind of the hard cap. It's his, so long as he doesn't blow it.
Yeah.
Or somebody else starts going
skyrockets.
crazy. I mean, which I think we could see out of a guy like Edwards if they just go, hey, this season's kind of a bust. Take the reins, go ahead. We're gonna sit Towns and Russell and go have some fun. I think he could probably inflate some stats. I mean, he's already got Dunk of the Year candidate. So
It was nasty. Go check it out.
It might be his.
Yeah.
I mean, he might win it. Halfway through the season, it might just be his.
Yeah.
Unless we see like LeBron throw it down on top of like Kawhi. Oh man, what if we got LeBron dunking over Kyrie?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
That I would buy that poster. That
A
would
lot of
go
people
up.
would.
That would be picturesque.
I'd frame it.
That's when you,
Screensaver, wallpaper.
that's what they're
frame it.
gonna put on the building in Cleveland instead.
He
It's
lays out on our TV.
right, it's like LeBron's not here, Kyrie's not here, but we'll take that one. That's just perfect. Speaking of the Nets and Kyrie Irving, though, they just dominated their past 5 games. They swept the Western Pacific Division, and they did 4 of those games for their last 5 without Kevin Durant. They beat the Warriors 134-117, the Kings 136-125. Then they beat the Suns 128-124. Low scoring affair against the Lakers, in which they also pulled out a 109-98 win. And then they finally rolled it out in a close one against the Clippers, and one that kind of had a controversial ending, but they won it 112-108. They're now all the way up to second in the East. We were talking about them being neck and neck for 7th with the Cavs just like 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago! What happened?
Nothing happened.
Cleveland happened. That's what it was.
Hey, back to our old losing ways. We'll talk about them later, maybe.
Briefly.
But what do you guys
Probably
think? The Nets seem to have figured things out.
Are you-
Obviously, defensively, they're still kind of struggling, but we saw when they went up against the Lakers, held the Lakers under 100. So, and they held the Clippers to 108. So it kind of seems when they really need to, they can step up on defense. And we know that's kind of a thing with Harden. Not always playing defense, but we see it more so in the postseason.
Or at least
He goes
try
out
like
and
you're
plays.
at least look like you're playing defense. Like
Right.
He didn't really do
we
it.
know
He was-
Harden doesn't really do it in the regular season. Once he gets down to the postseason, he can play defense. We've seen him do some pretty good things on defense.
As for Kevin Durant,
And Kevin Durant, Kyrie kind of in between depending on who he's going up against.
yeah,
Kind of fares how well he does. If he's got the size advantage, I think he normally is able to dominate the guy across from him, but being a smaller guy, he doesn't always have that. Obviously had some good defense in the finals against Golden State for 4 years.
Yeah.
Are you buying the Nets as a contender?
They figured it out. I have no problem saying yes to that, yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a contender, but...
I mean, if they won 4 of those 5 games against teams that are all inside of the top 8,
do you think they will dethrone the king?
Are they the favorites, I should have asked? Not contender, but are they the favorite?
As long as LeBron James is in the league, nobody else will be the number 1 contender.
But if Anthony Davis is hobbled,
then on that one.
That's very big.
It's still LeBron.
It's LeBron till it ain't.
Oh, I agree with you. But
nobody else in my mind can be the man until you beat the man.
I've said it many times.
The man when it matters most.
I've said that many times. I definitely agree with you. But
besides Golden State, and that's why I have no problem saying that Golden State year in year out was the best team in the country. And I was like, that's being the Cavs fan who was losing to them. I was like, they beat the man. They beat the king. What can I say? They won.
Yeah.
They were number 1. No one's beaten LeBron. No one beats LeBron when it matters.
Until you do it.
Until you do it.
But
that's why everyone's like last season it was, Clippers over LA. I'm like, doubtful.
I don't think it's going to happen this year anyways. I mean,
not this year, nah, not at the moment. Granted, both teams are fighting for second in the West. Lakers are 22-8, Clippers are 22-10, but the Lakers are not going to be without Anthony Davis for the next few weeks with him dealing with his calf strain.
And that's something I'm worried about. I'm not saying it's. I'm not trying to blow it up saying it's worse than what it is, but I want to see how if that can turn into something worse for Anthony Davis. That's my only thing about the Lakers. I know with Anthony Davis, nobody's beating them. I think we all agree that.
Yeah.
That nobody's beating them.
And right now there's rumors they're in the search to acquire DeMarcus Cousins back to the
especially
roster.
with this injury.
Right.
Too.
And all I can think of is, man, who was right about that Marc Gasol trade being awful? That was me.
It's horrible.
Oh, I don't know why they made that. I don't know why they did that to bring him in. It was...
He's not like his brother.
He's old, too.
Yeah.
He wasn't the right acquisition.
He was all right.
He had some good moments in Toronto, but compared to what the Lakers had...
I mean, he kind of felt...
I wouldn't have messed it up.
I don't know exactly what they were looking for by bringing him in, because they really needed guys like JaVale and Dwight who are athletic enough to jump around and throw around their muscles well, and Gasol's kind of a slower, big-bodied guy who's consistent on the boards and good at what he does, but probably wasn't the right fit for that roster.
And they'd use him, too.
Right.
Sitting JaVale like Cleveland.
Right. We're just sitting everybody. Yeah. No point.
God.
But
they would probably
LeBron said he's like, all right, I'm gonna switch things up, and I'm interested to see, does LeBron hit that playoff switch?
Well, that's where I was going to go and ask you.
Does he go into the playoff mode now, then use the All-Star break until the second half of the season, just go, all right, let's calm it down for a minute, and then go back to regular season momentum? Because we know in LeBron's playoff mode, no one touches him.
And that's...
He's the GOAT.
That's where I was going to kind of go and ask you. I saw this question on First Take this morning. I thought I would ask you guys. So with Anthony Davis being out, is it fair to expect more from LeBron?
What?
Is it fair to expect more from LeBron with Anthony Davis being out, or can you even expect more from him?
You know what? Yes. Because we know he can.
Oh, that's where I was going to go.
Before. I don't care about the age.
We know what his expectations should be and what he can do. And even his stats every season have always been less than what we know he can put up. I mean, he averages closer to 26, 28 points his entire career, yet we know he just puts up 30 games whenever he really wants to.
Yeah.
So he's never had the scoring of like a Jordan, unless we're talking about playoffs. And so we know he can go. We know he has that extra gear to go into when he needs to. And if he needs to be in the spot where he needs to keep his team in contention, I don't think he will struggle to do so at all. And I think that, yes, we should expect greatness out of LeBron. The guy has called himself the GOAT. He's put the chosen one on his back for the past 25 years. I got no problem saying, hey, if you have done this and rode this roller coaster your whole career, when you need to, just go do it. I have no problem putting that expectation on him because we know he can do it.
Age does not matter, okay? He's been doing this. Even take a look back 5 years ago, I don't think it was in the finals they won, but they didn't have Kevin Love or Kyrie, and he took that Cavs team 6 games against the Warriors.
Right.
All by himself.
Looking at stats this season, he's averaging 25.6 a game. His career average is 27. His rebounds are up by 0.7. He's at 8.2. And his assist totals is actually up by 0.5. He's at 7.9. But his free throw shooting is still a little bit down. And his player efficiency rating is also down from his career.
I mean, whether it results in wins or losses for the Lakers, I definitely think there is more room for LeBron to do it. And just because the simple fact, like you said, just because he can't do it.
Right, we know you can do it. I mean, his three-point percentage is at close to a career high. He's shooting 36.2%. So definitely an improvement there. But, converting free throws would be a little bit better. He's down on that a little bit this season. I think just getting a few more of those just gets him in a few better spots going down in the late stretch of a game. But I think it's time for LeBron to go. Right now we're talking LeBron dropping 6 points per game almost. It's not like that's bad, but give me those 2 more free throws. Get up to 28, 30 points and do that consistently. Start dropping your triple-doubles. Get your pass flowing. Let's go. Let's get these young guys rolling. You got a lot of veterans. You got Montrez. You got Schroeder. You got a lot of players on this team that I think could benefit from AD being out and really bring this team together to the point that LeBron needs to be the leader that we all think he is and has been in the past. Be the leader. Bring this team together. Unite around AD being gone so that when AD comes back, he doesn't have to go back to being the number one scorer on this team. Because AD was out there dropping 28, 30 points a game.
Yeah.
And LeBron was kind of taking the backseat like, hey, I'll rest till we go to playoffs, and then I'll take you from there. Carry me there, and I'll carry you the rest of the way.
And like you said, when I'm sitting here, I'm not judging it off wins or losses. I'm just saying, the stuff you just listed off there, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot, but there is a little bit more LeBron can do more, especially with Anthony Davis out.
I mean, and 2 to 3 points is not unreasonable for LeBron.
No, it's not.
I mean, that's one more dunk, one more shot, one more complete.
Get an extra rebound. An
extra rebound here, an extra assist or 2 there. And it's all things we know he can do. But in the grand scheme of one whole basketball game, that 1 point, that 1 rebound, that 1 assist, it can be a lot of points. Because say that 1 assist, okay, that gets you an extra 2 points. Now you get that rebound that can turn into points on the other end. Now you're up to 4 points. Now you get your another 2 points at the free throw line that you missed. You're up to 6 more points, and that's 6 more points in a basketball game, especially in a lot of games we're seeing in 10, 12-point wins, losses. Has kind of been the swing this year. It's about a 10-point swing for the win-loss, differential between the two teams, regardless of who's playing. So 6 points brings you within 4. Then in a 4-point ball game, you just do it. You just win.
And to strengthen our argument a little bit, I mean, it's not like it's a stretch to expect more out of him. He's LeBron James. If
we've been asking more his entire career.
Kawhi Leonard lose. I know it's a little different, but if Kawhi loses Paul George, I mean, just a player of that caliber, you're going to expect more out of him when somebody's there, not when somebody's hurt. I mean, that's just who you are.
If you look at these past few games, you see where this team has kind of struggled. Because he only put up 19 against the Heat. He had 9 rebounds, 9 assists. But where I'm looking in the stat category is his 3-point percentage. 1 for 8 in that game. Game before, 1 for 6. Game before, 1 of 4. Before that, 0 of 5. Then 1 of 4. Then 3 of 9. Then 2 of 10. I mean, these are some terribly low numbers. And I think him deciding to expand himself out to the 3-point arc, probably to avoid too much contact down in the paint right now, especially trying to be healthy while AD is out, might be hurting the team more than it's helping.
Yeah.
I mean, he still put up some good numbers in those games, besides the Heat game where he put 19. Against the Nets, he dropped 32. Against the Wolves, he dropped 30. Before that, it was a lower game with when he went 0 for 5 from 3 at 22. Before that was 28 points. So he's still putting up the numbers most of the time. But instead of that being a 3 from you, make it a 3 from Schroeder or a 3 from one of your guys who are your 3-point shooters, and let them miss the shots. Let them miss the threes. Because that is not your shot. That has not been his shot. And it probably never will be his shot. His shot is work the mid-range. You don't have to go all the way in. Start working the mid-range. There's a reason guys in the 90s did
that's what LeBron's good at.
There's a reason guys did that in the 90s. Because the post play was super physical. They knew that. And there weren't 3-point shooters. So they drove in, met contact, backed it out, and shot it from the mid-range. That's how Jordan made his money. That's how Kobe made his money. That's how all these guys did it. LeBron has shown he can do it. LeBron loves that mid-range shot. Use that.
The shot was a mid-range shot.
From right past the free throw line.
Yeah. That's how they all did it.
Make the mid-range shot. Take 2 steps up and sink that in. Because you stepping up 2 steps and making it is a lot more valuable than you hitting a 3. Because if you shoot a 3 and it misses, when you could have stepped up 2 and gotten 2 points.
That's a difference there.
It's a difference. It's 2 points, but 2 points in a 10-point game is a lot. So
we'll just have to see what happens with this Laker team. I'm not too worried about it because Anthony Davis, he's going to be back for the playoffs. He's going to be fine. So
yeah,
a matter of
I don't think LeBron has really ever cared of seeding in the playoffs.
No, it doesn't.
He's like, as long as I'm there, we're good. Yeah, I think he wants home court advantage, so he'll probably get a top 4 seed. That's probably where he likes to sit. So
I mean, even a quote from LeBron, he knows it's just time to adjust. I mean, he knows there's ways he could still help this team win that he isn't accustomed to doing when AD's there. So it's just an adjustment, but every team goes differently. Yeah.
Jazz are in control of the West still, though. They're 24-6. They're dominant.
Rolling.
We talked about them last week, but they're good. I'm liking them. And
like
there's really no
Jazz,
drama surrounding the franchise either.
No.
They're just kind of rolling along. It's kind of like
playing.
the 76ers. They're just kind of sitting there at the top and rolling.
And they have a very nice. They're loaded with shooters.
Right.
Very loaded with
They
shooters.
found a way to win, and they're just sticking with that way.
Right. They're in control.
Both
They're
teams.
2.5 games above the Lakers, so they're making
Have they
things
met
work.
yet in the regular season?
I think so. Let me check that real
If not,
quick.
when? I'll have to.
I'm not sure if they have yet.
Wednesday.
This Wednesday?
Oh, they did.
They
wow.
come up this Wednesday. Before this, I'm just looking quickly, so I might miss it. No, they have not met this season, but they play Wednesday at 10 p.m.
Ooh.
It'll be a late one, but it's going to be on ESPN.
So everybody can
I'm
watch
staying
it.
up.
Right? So that one should be a pretty good game, I would imagine. Briefly, I don't want to talk about it too much because we talk about it every week, but the Cavs have now slipped down all the way to 14th, lost the last 10 games, and now 10 games out of first. Mike, you pointed out earlier, they're only 5 games out of 8th, though, so no reason,
So they're not out of it.
reason to freak out completely, but
No.
now they are the 3rd worst team in the league. They're 10-21, and it's kind of like, man, we were off to such a hot start working with Drummond, made this trade and said, all right, Allen's our guy. He put up the good game, but kind of something off for the team.
I mean, I'm not going to point it all.
He had a great game last night.
He didn't miss it. He was 11 for 11.
Yeah.
11, what was it, 33
They still
points?
lost. They
Yeah.
still lost by 20.
Yeah.
To the Thunder.
So I'm not going
To
to
the
put it
Thunder.
all on one person or one move, but I think it was the culmination of Kevin Porter Jr. drama at the beginning. He got sent
The
out.
Cavs just always have storylines for the
Right.
wrong reasons.
Like,
Just
we
imagine if
should
we
not
had
ever
him.
be in the national news. Ever. It's Cleveland. Why are we in the national news ever?
Not because we're winning.
No, we aren't.
No, it's if we're in the national news, it's not because we're winning. It's because
Oh,
we did
right,
something
yeah.
stupid.
I point to the youth. I mean, I even said it when they started out with a good record and they were looking good. I just said I'm not gonna go overboard here. I mean, they're still young. They're gonna have their learning moments. I mean, and they're going through it right now, losing 10 in a row. I mean, I didn't. Yeah, it looked nice that they were in the playoff conversation. We thought they could have kept themselves afloat and stayed in the conversation, but
Yet.
it's not over yet. But it's not likely. And I mean, they're still young. I mean, they're not there yet.
Yeah. I think we'd be way better if we had, if they were actually playing Drummond and not sitting him out wasting money. Play him until just to trade him.
The more you
Don't
play
sit
him, the
him.
higher his trade value gets when
And
you
I
put him
don't
on the
get the
bench.
whole
It's only
JaVale.
going down.
I get it. No, I
Play
definitely get it.
JaVale too.
But
Yeah.
trading
they're
Drummond, I
making
don't have
me
a
mad.
problem with, but sitting him, I have a problem with.
Right.
If you're gonna trade
If
him,
we got this guy on our
trade
bench,
him.
and he's using up $28 million in space. Use the man. It's ridiculous.
If you're gonna trade him, but don't
We shouldn't
sit
have
him.
to be telling an NBA
Don't sit
franchise
him.
to not sit $30 million.
It seems like the Cavs usually do that. They did it with Kevin Porter Jr. Or no, well, he wasn't playing, but they said you're not playing until we trade you. I mean, they've done that in the past, and I really just don't understand it. But that's why they don't get.
Well, they were
after
gonna play.
trades.
They were gonna play Kevin Porter Jr., but then he threw nachos or something at somebody, and that was it.
Oh, they did it with J.R. Smith.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah,
did do it with
JR.
J.R.
Yeah.
Smith.
When he requested the trade, and he went,
They
okay,
took
Because
like a
he
year
won-
to
here's
do
the
it.
bench.
Yeah,
He
And then we
won-
paid him, $15 million to sit on the bench all season.
nice.
It's just, I feel like the Cavs take it too personal sometimes when it comes to making a move. They just take it to heart, and it's like, nah, this is a business. Use the guy until you can't use him anymore. Use every piece you can to put yourself in the best position so that if something goes wrong afterwards, you have time where you can be like, okay, hold on. We built up a good pace. We, gave us that little bit of a buffer. Now we can struggle. A little bit.
Yeah.
They haven't given that to themselves.
To figure out what to do next.
They made the move, gave it like 3 days, and then put Drummond on the bench and said, all right, Allen, go out there with no chemistry with any of these guys you've never played with before in your entire career on a completely different team, in a completely different city, and dominate. And he's not having a terrible time adjusting.
No.
But at the same time, it's like...
No, I think he's done well.
Right.
I'm not pointing any blame
exactly.
towards him.
We're not saying that at all. But it's kind of one of those things like, okay, we just threw him into the fire and expected the team to keep performing where it was. A team flows differently when you don't have the same guys in your starting five.
It's okay to just come out and say, while he's still playing, we're going to trade you. I mean, teams do it all the time. You don't just sit him down just because they're looking to trade you. I mean, I just don't understand that part of it.
Yeah, well, we talk Cavs every week, so let's keep it rolling. We'll just sit here for another half an hour on about Cavs.
Yeah.
We got the All-Star game coming up on March 7th. These starters were just announced. The reserves are supposed to be coming out either today or tomorrow. We haven't got word on that officially, completely yet. Captains, LeBron James and Kevin Durant. They will be participating in the All-Star Draft on March 4th at 8 p.m. That's going to be broadcast on TNT. Or you can just figure out the next week on Monday when we tell you who the entire teams are. Because we'll talk about it. So
yeah, we definitely will.
if you miss it, the internet exists too. So there is that.
If you miss it on TNT, come check it out on our show.
But rest of the starters, obviously LeBron James and Kevin Durant are the captains. On one side, out of the Western Conference, we got Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, and Kawhi Leonard. On the East, guys, we got Kyrie Irving, Bradley Beal, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid. This actually set a record for most foreign players ever in the All-Star game. For percentage-wise as starters, it was down at 40%. This year, it's 50%, I believe, with Luka being from out of the country. Jokic isn't from here. Giannis isn't from here. Embiid isn't from here. And Kyrie was born in Australia, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was born there. But
Yes.
I mean, he's...
Yeah, so technically he's foreign.
Yeah.
So, quite a spin there.
Question. Do you have a problem with Damian Lillard not being the starter?
Yes. I do.
No. Bradley Beal has done so much for the Wizards. And, I mean, who are we going to say in the East? Kyrie, Beal, Giannis, Embiid, Durant. Hasn't earned that spot. Or I guess this is the West.
No, the West,
So,
yeah.
Luka, Steph, Jokic, and Kawhi.
I mean, I wouldn't have had a problem with them putting him in over Luka.
The fans wanted Luka.
No,
and the guy has been coming up.
You can't go wrong with either one.
Luka has even came out to say, I didn't even expect to start the game. He thought Lillard was going to start.
Dame finished second place to Luka.
Yeah, he's still going to make it as a
There's no
reserve.
problem with that. I'm just saying, because like, people
He's still going to make it as a reserve.
If yeah, he's going to make it a reserve, but still, I mean, people often bring up the fact that do they think Damian Lillard's unappreciated? I don't think so.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because it's still going to say All-Star on his resume.
Yeah.
It doesn't say
he's
starter.
Still an All-Star.
I don't think he's unappreciated.
At the end of the day, he's got it. He came in second to Luka.
Yeah.
He's still going to be an All-Star. There's
play.
no point. And 50% of your votes come from fans.
Yeah.
Luka won the fan vote. I think we've kind of come to the assumption that Luka is kind of the fan favorite around town. He's
a crowd pleaser.
Right, he's a crowd pleaser. He's kind of like, Mr. Smile of Dallas.
Yeah.
He just kind of brings that positive vibe around. You always see him being cheerful, doing things in the community, being with fans as much as possible right now, obviously. So no, I don't have an issue. Steph's been lighting it up too.
Oh yeah.
And I got Steph over Dame any day. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
And the people want that. People want Steph. Then Jokic obviously is, a big guy, and so is Kawhi, and so is LeBron, so that's a different part of it being voted on. So I wouldn't say I put Dame over Luka or Steph. Then even if I was to go into the East side that got it out, I don't think I'm taking Dame over Beal or Kyrie.
No.
Maybe in a fourth quarter shot at the end of it, because that's Dame. That's Dame time.
Dame time.
It's about Dame time, is the fourth quarter. But in a full game, I want Kyrie or Beal.
I don't think he's underappreciated at all. Damian Lillard. But do you think he's underrated? Like, do you think he should be rated up with the other guys? Yeah,
no, most people have him. At least past few seasons, he was top 5 point guard in the league.
Okay.
I don't think there's any underappreciation.
I view him as a superstar.
Right. He's a superstar franchise player, untradeable.
Yeah.
Supermax contract. Loyal, which is another thing that you don't get too often anymore in the league. He's shown his loyalty to Portland even when they haven't really shown it to him all the time. I think there were rumors last season or season before about they were looking to trade him at one point.
Yeah. So. That's like they're winning going away if they trade him.
Right, but no, I don't see him being underrated or underappreciated.
Okay. I don't think so either. I was just asking.
Yeah. All right, well, also coming up, this was before the All-Star kind of weekend, what's happening for that event. Everything's happening on March 7th. Before the All-Star game, there's going to be the skills challenge and the three-point contest. Those players have not been announced. I'm assuming we're not going to see anybody that's playing in the All-Star game participate.
Yeah.
Because they would be exhausted at that point going through the three-point contest and then doing the game. Like, the skills challenge really doesn't do anything.
No.
And we normally see younger guys do that anyway. Then at halftime, we're going to have the slam dunk contest. So free up your day for March 7th. Sit back, grab some popcorn, watch the All-Star.
It's going to be a long halftime show.
Yeah, right? Maybe like half an hour.
Yeah.
45 minutes. And then probably closer to an hour with all the commercials, too.
Everything else tied into it, yeah.
Well, that's all I have for NBA so long as you guys are ready to move on.
I'm good.
All right, let's move this now. Major League Baseball. But before I get there, actually, I want to say Minor League Baseball has also announced that their season is starting too. So it's official. Minor League Ball is back. I got the news from the Rubber Ducks a few days ago.
Did we say last week the Scrappers schedule was out?
Yes,
so
we did.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Season looked a little different, though, for Minor League. It was now going, I think, a whole month longer than it normally has, so I haven't looked too much at the MLB schedule, but I'm assuming if there's any issues down the line, Major League Baseball is going to have a long schedule this year.
It seems like their schedule's, like, in terms of the games, like, it seems like it's pretty much...
Do you know how many games there were in the MLB this year?
I want to say they cut it down... I want to say they cut it down
60?
like 10 games.
Wasn't it 60 games?
Not this past one, Matt.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking this one coming up.
Oh, okay.
I want to say they cut like 10 games back. So they might be at 152, but it's pretty
just
much
like how
literally
the
the same.
just
Yeah,
dropped 10 off.
It's not anything different.
Well, spring training starts on the 28th. Cactus League's teams in Arizona now will play 28 games over 30 days, which seems a bit intense. The Grapefruit League team in Florida will play either 24 or 28 games in that span, depending on how things go. Safety protocols. Action will begin on February 28th, and 28 of the 30 teams are slated to take the field. The other two teams, the Cubs and the Mets, will play their first games a day later. This season brings along some new rules in the Major League Baseball. Per the 2021 Operations Manual, games from the start of spring training through March 13th will be scheduled as 7-inning games, though they can be shortened to 5 innings or lengthened to 9 upon mutual agreement of both managers. From March 14th until the end of camp, games will be scheduled for 9 innings, though managers can mutually decide to shorten to 7 innings, but the clubs must notify Major League Baseball ahead of any game length modifications by 5 p.m. the day before the game. So I'm sure we'll see some sort of controversy involving that rule at some point.
Oh, definitely.
I'm sure. That's obviously only for spring training. But some of the rules from last season are applying for this season.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the ones that people don't like. The
me.
7-inning doubleheaders. Those are still coming back for the regular season.
That doesn't bother me.
That one I was
That
like,
doesn't
okay, that
bother
makes
me.
sense.
That's okay, yeah.
That makes sense.
But the
14
next
innings
one-
versus 18 innings. This is the one people didn't like. Runners on second base to start extra innings will return for a second consecutive season under an agreement for 2021 health protocols reached Monday between Major League Baseball and the Players Association. However, the universal designated hitter rule was not added in that conversation.
I'm waiting for that one to happen.
I don't know why it hasn't yet.
It needs to.
It's the only sport in the world that has a different rule in the same league, depending on
You
what
either have it
conference
for
you're
all
in.
teams or you don't have it at all. That's where I stand.
Yeah.
That's as basic as I can get with it.
I mean, it's been kind of interesting before, but at the same time, pitchers are kind of just a waste of space.
It's stupid when an American League team plays a National League team. You
They gotta
add
have
it for
their
that
pitcher.
game.
Yeah.
Right.
If the
pitcher
team's
has
at
to go
home.
out there.
Yeah. You just do it.
And then sometimes it affects your strategy too. If you got to pull your pitcher early, just because you need a
teams
base
aren't
runner,
used to it. Yeah,
right.
Teams are not.
It ruins teams.
It's stupid when an American League team goes to a National League home stadium, then they make their pitcher bat, and it's reversed when a National League team. It's just stupid. I just don't like it.
Only sport where this is a thing.
It's even a problem. It's just.
But the whole the runner on second base and extra innings, that is just. I hated that one.
And I think a few teams exposed the issues with it at last season when you just
what is this
bunt.
little league?
Bunt on the first guy up.
You got a guy on third with one out.
Right.
I mean,
what is this little league stuff?
Yes, this is Little League stuff. Actually, no, because the Little League doesn't do dumb stuff like this.
No, this is like Pee-wee baseball.
And I understand it's because they're trying to make sure the game stays shorter for COVID, but if the guy's already out there for 9 innings, and it's not like anyone in baseball is ever near each other.
Can we not blame this
baseball players aren't close to one another on the
No!
field. We all
That
play
too, and I'm not blaming this stupid rule on COVID.
If you're on the bases, especially
even players on the base, players on the bases aren't near anybody. Outfielders aren't even close to a soul. And, I mean, it's not like the other team's touching the baseball at the same time.
I'm not even going to blame this dumb rule on COVID because they were talking about doing this thing before COVID was even a thing. So don't blame it on COVID.
And the runner and say the runner's on first. The first baseman's not even close to that runner. They're like 6 feet away.
Right.
The only time you're close to a guy on field is when you're holding a runner at a base or if you're at bat.
You're going to tag them.
That's it.
Or you're tagging them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stupid.
There also another... I'll say not rule change. The playoff format has been reverted back to its original format. Nothing has been added. So at the moment, baseball is going to continue as it used to. But last season's format wasn't even agreed upon until hours before the season started. So there's still plenty of time for more changes to that format. So expect something probably to be announced by the end of spring training.
It's not out of the question that they're going to change it. It's just... as a matter of what they're going to change it to.
Right.
We kind of got a little breaking news a little bit ago.
Do we?
Yes. I mean, the Seattle Mariners president, Kevin Mather, resigns after making comments. I didn't even know about this until this just happened. I guess he made comments he made to a Rotary Club earlier this month. Surface and receive widespread backlash on Sunday.
Well, see what happens to that.
Couldn't have been that widespread. I didn't hear about it until just now.
It's the Mariners. Nobody cares about the Mariners.
Yeah, that's true. Matt, you got anything more for baseball? Spring training's just around the corner.
That's just what we're really waiting on right now.
Right.
We'll talk more about favorites and our predictions as
once we get close to the season.
We're too far out right now.
We'll probably keep mentioning baseball just a little bit here and there, especially if there's any more rule ads or drops.
See if any moves happen during spring training, but all the big moves are pretty much out of the way now. So
right. So we're just waiting to see what happens. Waiting to see Francisco Lindor on another team.
Yeah, I don't want to talk
about it. I sent you that video.
And see if the Yankees can ever do
anything. See Corey Kluber in pinstripes. How the heck do you think that's going to feel?
Could have at least traded him there.
Lindor's in pinstripes too.
Yeah.
I sent you that video. Were you crying?
No.
Matt would have bawled his eyes out.
Matt probably was crying anyway. Moving on to NHL, Matt. What do you got for us?
So I got a couple of things.
Hockey man.
Got a couple of things. So we had that outdoor classic at Lake Tahoe this past weekend. So that first game between the Avalanche and the Golden Knights, they delayed it because the sun. They were playing outside, obviously, and the sun just started melting the ice, so they had to delay the game, and they continued it on midnight that night, I believe.
I saw pictures though of it. What a setup that was! Scene. It was awesome. It was picture perfect.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the only thing that would have made it better is if they were on the lake.
Yeah,
that would have been awesome.
That would have been sick,
right? Then you get somebody fall through. You're like, oh no, that's not what we wanted. But who would have thought that the sun would melt ice? It's almost like it should have been a scheduled night game to begin with.
I mean, when you're playing outside and the sun's kind of out, even though it's wintertime, it's still gonna
melt. It's almost like these people have lived through winter before and probably should have known that.
Yeah.
Especially when their job is to play on ice. I know that's not our meathead of the week, but maybe it should have been.
But the Avalanche ended up winning the game 3-2, and then the other game was just a blowout. The Bruins faced against the Flyers. Right? Yep, they won 7-3. That one wasn't even close. But another game I want to talk about, a little biased, but Sidney Crosby played his 1,000th game.
Congratulations to him.
That's a lot.
They won the game. They won. I know Chris Letang had two goals, and you never really see him score all because he's a defender.
Yeah.
But they won 3-2 against the Islanders. So I mean, it was a good game. I watched the whole game. It was exciting. Sid didn't really do anything. He had 2 assists. That's just about it. But
credit to Sid, though.
Yeah, credit to Sid. They had a bunch of guys making videos. You had Alex
Ben sent one
Ovechkin, Ben Roethlisberger sent one out to him. I believe I saw Patrick Kane sent one out. Speaking of Patrick Kane, I gotta talk about this. They lost 5-3 to the Hurricanes the other night, but Kane had this unbelievable shot. I don't know if you guys saw it.
I haven't seen it, no.
He had the one guy going, like he had the one guy with him, and then he totally, like, kind of like broke his ankles, like in basketball, but in hockey, and he just did this behind the back shot, and it just miraculously went right into the net. The commentators were going nuts. The halftime guys were going nuts. They were jumping up on the desk and stuff, going crazy.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. Oh, it was amazing.
Ankle breakers in hockey. I'll check that out.
Oh man, it was amazing.
But going back to Sid for a minute, I want to give a shout out to him because I saw in Ben's tribute video to him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just a guy in the city of Pittsburgh you're not going to find
beloved.
anyone like him.
That's beloved.
I mean, you look at all the great athletes they've had in all other sports. I mean, you're just not going to find another guy like Sid.
And Sid is up
1,000 games.
And we were talking about LeBron being the GOAT of basketball and Brady for football. Well,
Sid's up
there for hockey.
He's up there for hockey
with Ovechkin, Kane, a couple other guys.
All the guys in the past. I mean, he's definitely up there as one of the greats ever.
Oh yes.
But that's all.
That's about it for hockey. There.
All right.
Do you want to go on and move on?
Yeah, we are because it's hockey.
It's hockey.
I don't think we have much of a hockey fan base at the moment. So
no.
Maybe if we get some comments or something saying, "Hey, give us more NHL," we'll
talk
about
it to you.
Until you ask, we're gonna move on. So college basketball came and went this past week once more. Some good games. Gonzaga still unbeaten, 22-0. In second place, Baylor. They're still undefeated, 17-0. The Big 12's got 6 ranked teams. The Big 10 has 5. The Big 10 has 4 of those inside of the top 10. It's a mean conference right now to go through. And Ohio State's one of those. Loyola lost to Drake in their second game and dropped all the way down to 22nd now. Yep. Still pretty good position, though.
They held off Valpo the other night. They only won by 2. And Valpo just beat Drake in an upset. So that...
Interesting.
Nice.
I don't think anything else really of mention ever happened in that week. So nothing I don't think we can talk about, need to talk about happened in basketball.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, fine. Ohio State versus Michigan.
I thought you were going to let me intro that because it's
I'm not letting you do it. It hurts.
All right.
It was a classic, phenomenal game. Both teams looked amazing. I can't wait to see this again in the Big Ten Conference Tournament. So hopefully they get to play again. And then, frankly, I want to see this as the national championship game.
Wouldn't that be something?
This was what college basketball should be.
It was definitely the.
I mean, Ohio State went down 8 at one point in the last minute, and they still pulled it back in.
Yeah,
and then
so
Michigan pulled it back out. It was crazy at the end of the game. Like, Ohio State was hitting threes left and right. It was phenomenal. But they couldn't get it back together on defense. They couldn't steal it. I was like, oh, come on. It was amazing to watch. Michigan 192-87.
And a score like that.
Michigan picked up their first win in Columbus in 7 years.
Oof.
And Ohio State had also won the last 3 games of the matchup in basketball. It was also the first time that any Michigan football or basketball has won.
And you talked about like a lot of threes going down. A score like 92-87. That's not a high. That's a high score you really don't see in college
basketball. That's high for basketball. That's almost NBA level.
For the whole game, there was 18 lead changes, and for the first 39 minutes, the largest lead was 6 points. So neither team really ever led by double digits. I mean, they did.
It was at the end of the game when there was like a minute left. Michigan went up by 8. They're like, this is now the largest lead they've held all game long. And it was like 8 points?
Yeah.
Really? How?
They make it sound like it's large, but it wasn't. And despite the loss to Michigan, I mean,
doesn't hurt Ohio State.
It doesn't. They're still one of the 4 number one seeds.
They still put up 87.
Along with Gonzaga, Baylor, and Michigan. So
Illinois is above them in the rankings for the Big Ten, though. So Ohio State is a 3rd seed instead of a 2 seed where they really want to be. So we'll see if they can get a few more games in there before Big Ten tournament starts.
Yeah, and with Michigan, you talk about all the good teams in the Big Ten. They got Iowa coming up next. That's 3 versus 9. Look out for that one. And Ohio State,
Ohio State's got Iowa too to end it.
Yeah, but their next game is going to be against Michigan State. Michigan State, they're out a down year. They should win that, but they're still capable of winning some games.
I mean, so if you look at Ohio State's upcoming schedule, they got Michigan State, which is the down, but then they got to face Iowa and Illinois to finish out the season. That is brutal. And right now, if they were able to win both of those, they'd be 14-5 and would take second place away from Illinois.
Oh boy.
Who would fall to...
And in the top 5...
Right now, Illinois... Hold on, let me roll up their schedule just real quick here. They got to face number 23, Wisconsin, number 3, Michigan, and then number 4, Ohio State. I mean, it's brutal to end the season with these 3 teams.
And I don't know if it's going to continue, but to Illinois' credit, they're playing good at the right time right now. I watched them the other day. Who did they play? I can't remember. But they killed
Minnesota or Northwestern.
Yeah, they won by like 30 against
Minnesota. Oh, that was
Minnesota.
Against Minnesota, yeah.
But
they won by 31.
Not even just that game. They've been on a roll lately, and they're clicking at the right time, going into the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, Cockburn dropped 22 points in that win. And, I mean, they had 4 people scoring in double digits. That's incredible.
Yeah. So, and then you got, the top 5, you got 3, 4, and 5 are Big Ten teams.
At the moment, obviously...
well, as it currently stood, but...
Just talk. What do you want, Matt?
Oh, we gotta talk NASCAR, so...
Oh, who cares? We're still on basketball. Why do you go... He's like giving me a stare, we're like, bird drive! No, we're on basketball. Screw your NASCAR.
We gotta talk NASCAR.
No, we don't. We're talking basketball. It's more important. People actually watch this sport.
I wouldn't even call NASCAR. Oh,
NASCAR's a sport.
Yeah, let's not argue about that.
If you discredit that, you're not even a sports fan. You shouldn't even call yourself an analyst at that point.
All right.
Just an idiot. Well, we know that.
Shut up.
But
Keep talking.
Big Ten's looking good right now. They're in the right spot. And I think all these teams are really... I think the 4 teams in the top 10 could all make the run to make it all the way.
Definitely.
But I want Ohio State, Michigan, Final Four, National Championship. I want it. I want it so bad.
At least in one of those later rounds, you got to see it happening.
Give me that Final Four matchup. Ohio State and Michigan to
go
go to the National Championship. Oh, it's what the sport needs, baby. Put legitimacy back.
The game didn't happen on the gridiron this year. We got to see it on the hardwood.
Oh, and then it only happens once on the hardwood this season. Normally it's a two every year. It's
because one early in the year didn't happen. Yeah,
right. The early one this season didn't happen. I mean, Ohio State missed some of those big games that they couldn't have happen, and now they got to finish it off against Iowa on the 28th. Should be phenomenal though. So 3 games left, depending on teams in the Big Ten before conference tournament start.
And
they're just playing each other again.
I don't know if you had games of the week coming up later, but
I have a few.
But I don't know if that Iowa and Michigan was on there. If it was, I'm sorry to steal it, but it was.
Yeah.
That's.
So is the Iowa Ohio State. So I have one surprise left.
But yeah, 3 versus 9. We got to watch that one coming up on Thursday. It's
Should be pretty good.
Big one in the Big Ten standings. We'll see what happens with that one.
Mike, you got anything else for college basketball?
Not really. I mean, I was trying to look around for some other news, but all they kept showing was Michigan Ohio State games. So that's all I really could find, other than rankings. But
it was kind of the big game going on, so it was kind of.
That's what most of the headlines took. But other than rankings, I mean, we talk about that every week, and it's going to change. New ones haven't come out yet. The AP came out, but not the official ones. So we'll see.
Yep, all right, well, that's going to move it on from college basketball, and since Matt's complaining about it, let's go NASCAR. Matt, what happened? Do you even know who won?
Yes.
Who?
Christopher Bell won.
What race was it?
This was, it was Daytona, but it was a road course.
Okay.
So,
what time was the race?
Why are you asking all these weird questions?
Because he's looking off Google. He doesn't even know.
3 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah, you're on Google. I can see you.
Well, Christopher Bell, I've seen him race, not in NASCAR, but I've seen a couple of dirt car races with him. He's finished pretty well. He's a young driver. He's on that Joe Gibbs racing team. Joe Gibbs, legendary NFL coach for the Redskins for a long time. But that's about it.
Legendary owner in NASCAR. He's only had
a
few NASCAR Cup championships.
That too.
We're talking about NASCAR, and he goes, "Hey, coach in the NFL."
Well, he did.
As if that's relevant. It's not relevant.
Well, I mean,
Nobody cares. You're a maniac, Matt. Well, come on. You're complaining about NASCAR. What else you got? Is that it? Is that all you got, Matt?
Pretty much.
Okay, well, I'll beat you out here. Denny Hamlin's number 1 in points right now. He's at 104. Next highest is Logano with 92. Still not too much going on, though, because it's pretty early.
It's early. Second race.
So we'll see what happens with going along with that. I'm just trying to figure out how many drivers actually finish the race.
We have 2 back-to-back younger guys winning. Last week was McDowell. Now this week is Christopher Bell.
Yeah, I mean,
so
kind of the whole thing of people were talking like, man, they added all these road courses and the dirt course, and it kind of was looking like, man, they were really trying to build some things up for Hendrick Motorsports because Chase Elliott's amazing on road courses and Kyle Larson's amazing on dirt. And now we just got 2 other guys that came out and were like, hey, oh well, it's my race, I win.
Yep.
Eat my dust.
Yeah, dust. That's appropriate for racing.
Something else that came out.
I don't know, it's a thing. People say that, right? What else you got, man?
Nothing. I don't want to talk about that. That's too sad.
Okay.
Just leave us hanging there. All right. Well, Matt, great job on NASCAR this week. We'll make sure you keep rolling with that moving forward.
Well, we got to keep talking about it. I mean, it's a sport. We have to mention it, sort of.
We don't talk about tennis or golf.
Well, I was going to talk about tennis, but I just want to say Novak Djokovic he won his 20th major, so good for him. He's up there.
What's that?
Maybe if you ever stop talking.
Oh, yeah, in tennis. Dude,
I just wanted to mention that.
Honestly,
I don't have anything to say.
Honestly, I watched a little bit of it. Swear.
I didn't watch it. I just saw he won his 20th major. That's pretty unheard of.
Who was it? Naomi Osaka, is that her name?
Yeah.
She won it again, so she's phenomenal.
Okay.
She's the next thing since, she's overtaken Serena Williams in current standings, so... Serena Williams still kind of goat of women's tennis, though.
Oh, she's like the face of it.
Right.
If she is,
but Naomi is kind of just like,
I'm
the rising star.
We will be talking golf here in about a little bit more than a month. I mean, the Masters. We have to talk about the Masters again. Yes. Don't give me that little whisper, squeaky voice.
I don't know about that.
Oh, we'll mention who wins.
Probably. Really, what will happen is we'll be like, you guys watch it? Yeah, I saw the second day. What'd you see? Yeah, I saw the third. What happened? I don't know. Somebody hit a ball.
We'll have to whisper when we talk about it too, so we get in the mood. Yeah.
We're not doing ASMR on the podcast. It's not happening.
Yeah.
The loud podcast goes quiet once. Not a chance.
Are we moving on here? Let's go.
Yeah, we're moving on.
Next?
We're going something awesome here. Youngstown State football.
Yes.
Matt and I both got our tickets for this upcoming Sunday's game against UNI on Saturday at noon. 3,000 total fans are going to be allowed in attendance. Students, if you're watching this and you go to YSU, go to the ticket office in Stanball. They're free. Let's load the stands. Let's get all 3,000 of students.
You didn't know how to get there, so...
I didn't.
So I
didn't know the ticket
office. So this is how you get there. All right, you go...
It's a stadium. Every stadium has a ticket office. Come on.
You go through the doors that have the big Ron Jaworski success thing over it. All right, you go up the stairs. You walk, second floor. You walk across the basketball hoop, walk down the hall to the right, all the way down, go through the doors. There it is.
Or, if that was too complicated for you, go to the parking lot on the left side.
So you have to do all that walking. It's right there.
Right. So it's that parking lot next at the intersection. It's right through those front doors. I think there's even something that says ticket offices.
Yep. That too.
Save yourself walking through the courts and all that. Just
He's like, all right.
Well,
so
I
know what you're talking about.
Well, we go on the adventure. Well, we make an adventure out of it.
Everything's got to be an adventure with Matt.
Yeah.
We go downtown. We went downtown for lunch and we made 15 different turns to go one direction.
Yeah. And we almost slipped and fell.
We?
Well, I mean, you slipped a couple of times.
I didn't almost fall. Matt was penguin waddling everywhere. It's like, because he's got tennis shoes on in the middle of winter. Walking across the ice, like that was a smart thing to do. But YSU football, 0-1 now in the season, had to open it up against number 1 North Dakota State. Probably not the best person to open it against.
How many consecutive times?
39 wins consecutively.
39 times.
State. And Youngstown State still has not won in the Fargo Dome.
Not many teams do, though.
Right. They lost at 25-7. Defensively, not bad. Offensively, needed a lot of work.
State
Had 1 first down and 41 total yards in the first half. That is pathetic. No offense to our football players, but that's pathetic.
North Dakota State lacking Trey Lance, still dominant.
Still, yeah.
Next man up.
I mean, their defense is incredible,
Yeah.
so we knew that.
We had our defense played half decent as well. I know some guys on the team that made some good plays.
Played just fine.
Yes, it's just.
I mean, we knew it coming in. Like YSU's offense, they have not played together at all.
Right.
2 guys they only have returning. 1 lineman and Jake Coates was the only returning guy on offense.
Craycraft was on the team last year.
Oh, Craycraft too. I forgot about him.
He played some quarterback last season, but really...
Well, Coates was on the team, but he wasn't on the offense last year, so I guess...
Yep. And they got a new coach, and so they're trying some new things.
Figure out what's worked, but Joe Craycraft offensively went 4 for 11 for 45 yards before he was replaced by Mark Wade, who went 8 for 11 for 75 yards, and a 15-yard touchdown pass to Jacob Coates.
Only score
as you just mentioned, their only score. But it kind of gave some hope. It was like, oh, okay, let's bring in this other guy. Let's see what he can do.
Let's bring Mark Wade in.
I mean, Craycraft played a decent bit last season, I think, after our quarterback was injured, which most people saw in SportsCenter. We saw in person.
I got to interview him after that, too.
Yeah.
But Nate Mays.
Right. Craycraft really didn't do anything of exciting last season. It was pretty much... Young South State had a run-based offense last season. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get any run game going this week. Granted, probably can credit that to North Dakota State. I'm interested to see how they face against UNI, but UNI is a good team too, and another one of those top 25 teams in the country for FCS, so it'll be a dangerous game to go into.
Difficult teams keep coming in, so...
Right. That's what you expect when you're playing in the Missouri Valley.
It's a very, very good
It's the number 1 conference in the FCS, and it has been for years.
Yeah.
Partially due to North Dakota State, but still. I mean, South Dakota State's been number 2 right up there with them. Yep. UNI is always up there. I mean...
YSU had a good year a few years ago. So
right. They were just runners-up in 2016.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the best conference, if not all of football, at least in the FCS.
It's hard to disagree with it. I mean, like I said, the difficult games are going to keep coming up for YSU, but they got to get through it. They're a young team, and they'll find their way through it.
Right. I'm going to be at the game Saturday. Matt is most likely going to be at the game. We got our tickets, so...
What time is it?
Noon?
I'll be there.
You don't even know what time it is.
Well, I might be working I might be doing cameras during the game. I don't know yet. I mean, if it happens, good. If it doesn't, I'm okay with it. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, moving on. We'll talk more football after we see the game in person. I'm so hyped. Let's go YSU women's basketball. They're a 7th seed. They finished their regular season 9-7. It will take on Fort Wayne, number 10, on Thursday, the 25th. So just coming up later this week. Fort Wayne's only 1-21 on the season. YSU won both matchups in early February by double digits against this squad. So our women's squad here for the Penguins should be able to roll through there, pick up another dub, and move themselves along in the tournament. What do you guys think?
I think both squads, the men's and the women's, are going to come out and try and win a lot. They're not a lot, but they're going to try and move on. Like, they're going to take it one game at a time, and whatever happens, happens.
What was the action for the men's over the weekend?
I'm about to get into that.
I don't want to jump away from
Who did they play? IUPUI?
Yeah, YSU men's basketball finished their season 14-11, 9-11 in conference play. Won almost every game since Darius Quisenberry's return. Won 6 of their last 7. They lost their first game this past weekend to IUPUI, but picked up the second one. Moves up to a 6th seed in the Horizon League tournament, and will take on the UIC Flames, the 11th seed, on Thursday the 25th as well. So both men and women in action on the 25th that day. These two teams, to give you a little background on it, faced back on the 22nd and 23rd of January. UIC won the first game 67-66 in a close one, and YSU won the second game 85-77, kind of pulled away in that one. Both those games, they didn't have Quisenberry. He's back now, should be a different story. YSU should be able to go in there and walk out with this one.
Definitely. We'll keep an eye on it.
Definitely. I mean, 6 versus 11, you expect the 6 seed to win. So
you expect,
we'll be in contact with Darius, too.
Before Thursday's
game. So we'll talk to him about it. Get some comments from him.
Should be an exciting week of sports. Well, I think we're at that time of the week, guys. Already. Matt, do you have somebody in mind? Or do I have to save you?
I think I have somebody in mind. but you might have to come in and save me.
Was it a little highway robbery? But only the second word?
No.
Oh, it's not going to be that guy?
I don't even know
That's not what I was saying. I don't even know what
Okay, well, then I have no idea what this is, but Matt's special edition of the show, which might be getting made into a shirt here very soon, because somebody has to make a logo first. Me. But without any further ado, this week's Meat of the Week.
Okay, so this is a word that usually goes to coaches and players and owners, not high school players who like to mouth off to Cam Newton, who is he's a free agent, like you said, hundreds of times.
I got something to say about
hundreds of times you said to his face, and you just made yourself look like a meathead.
Can I jump in and help you?
Yeah, go ahead.
This kid is here talking trash to Cam Newton at Cam Newton's camp.
He's
there to help you to become a better player.
And you're trashing him.
I mean, I don't want to talk too much trash on a kid, but
I'm not either. But come on.
At the same time, it's like,
it's
what are you
Newton,
doing? I mean, the kid issued an apology.
As you expected.
Said my competitive side of me got the better of me.
How would you?
I don't know how you're competitive.
I wouldn't say competitive side. I'd say my meathead side got
your ego got in the way.
If I'm at a camp with Cam Newton hosting it, I wouldn't even.
That's like walking up to LeBron James's camp and going, "You're poor. Jordan's better."
Yeah.
Dude, you can see my eyes right now. Do you know how horrible that would be? Walk up with a Jordan shirt on.
I don't think LeBron would mind because he's a fan of Jordan. But if he just walked up and just said, "Bro, you suck," I can't believe you're.
I wouldn't be afraid to even say a one word to him, let alone say, "Oh, I'm not going to repeat what he said," but.
Right.
We all know what he said.
In a negative way.
We all know what he said and who.
Actually, I haven't watched the video yet, so I don't.
Well,
it wasn't anything bad.
It wasn't anything bad. He just looked like a meathead saying it. And Cam Newton just, shut him down. Even Cam Newton, I would have just... Even he kind of looked like a meathead. I would have just kind of walked away from it. Like, Cam Newton was talking back at him. I'm like, dude... You're higher than
That's my only thing. Is this, he's hosting a camp for you to get better. You're talking crap on him? I mean...
Yeah, he was talking crap on him. If I was Cam Newton, I'd be like...
I'd
shrug it off and walk away. But Cam, kept on...
I mean, that's the guy you
gotta... after him.
You gotta pick... That's the guy you gotta pick his brain, because if you think two of his biggest names come out of his camps, Deshaun Watson and Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Both went to his camp. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Both are studs.
Right. Both are about to be starters next season in the NFL. Yeah. So... Go to his camp and learn. That's all I gotta say. Yeah. Well, I do have...
I'm sure he learned a lot this week.
I'm sure he got a lot of running in that camp.
I don't even know his name. I don't even know the kid's name.
It's out there, but I don't know.
I got one more honorable mention for your meathead of the week.
Oh, what was it?
The person who thought it was a good idea to break into Deion Sanders' office and rob him.
Yeah.
All the stuff has been recovered because somebody on the staff saw the person do it, so it was caught quickly.
Why would you say something then?
But who wants to mess with Deion Sanders? Who in their right mind? Or who's drunk rear end walked in there? Yo, it's Deion's office, bro. Let's go.
Dude, it's Deion.
You know that's what happened.
Let's take everything.
There's somebody high.
It's Prime Time's office. Let's take his rings and jewelry.
Let's be prime time after I sell this bling bling.
Yeah.
You know that's how some drunk college student walked in there and went, yo, dibs.
I got this.
How did they even
I got this, bro.
How did they even get in there?
He probably just walked in. I mean, we've walked in places where we should not be able to just walk into on campus.
We have.
Thanks, YSU, just leaving everything unlocked, and curious students just walk in. It's like...
The stadium, for example.
It's not locked. Matt and I went on in the middle of winter.
I know.
The door was open, Matt. It's not like we did anything. They left the door open to the gates, and we're like, well, okay, let's just see what's going on.
I mean, I've been on the field a lot of times, but I was able to be on the field.
Most
of the time I've been on the field, I was supposed to be there for
certain
events.
I did it a couple of times. I had a press pass a couple of times, but that was only a couple. Times.
But final segment, games of the week. We already mentioned it. Iowa versus Michigan, Thursday at 7 p.m. on ESPN. Then, also on Thursday, this one's a little earlier in the day, at 5 p.m., this is the big one. Number 2, Baylor, taking on number 10, West Virginia, in a battle of the Big 12. Should be exciting. I expect Baylor to probably walk out of there with a victory, considering they're undefeated so far. But West Virginia is heating up. That one's not on national television, though, so try and find it if you're local to their areas. You might be able to if you're in southern Ohio. You might get West Virginia in that one. Yeah. Not 100% sure. Then, on Sunday at 4 p.m., we got Iowa versus the Ohio State University at 4 p.m. Those are this week's games of the week. I would say NBA, but we're still only kind of halfway through, so nothing really matters completely yet. So there's that. NHL, still kind of only halfway through the season. Baseball is spring training.
Yeah.
NASCAR, there's one race every week. Watch it if you want. It's kind of like there's one of them.
We'll just say who won.
Yeah, we'll tell you who won, who came in second.
What time it was.
What time it was and where it was.
Who wrecked? Oh, maybe.
Chase Elliott spun out on the last lap. That's all I know. So that's going to do it for this week's show. I'm Alec Caberna. Joining me, as always, this week was Matt Morrison and Mike Wolfgang. Make sure to go buy our merchandise. You can do it down in the description of these videos. Go click on it. Support us, please. We need money. We're running out.
We're college kids.
We're college kids. We're broke. We can't afford to make this show better without your help. So thank you for supporting us. If you're on YouTube, thank you for supporting us as long as you have. Make sure to like and subscribe to this video as well. And check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Anywhere that the internet exists, type us in. See what happens. It could be cool. Casual Sports Report. So without any further ado, thank you all for watching this week. We'll see you all next time.
Peace.
Peace out.